Bonjour. Bonjour à toute la communauté. Bonjour à tous les vaillants révolutionnaires du monde. Bonjour à tous ceux qui ont décidé de pouvoir mettre fin au plan diabolique institué par l'élite de ce monde. Bonjour à tous ceux qui m'aiment, qui aiment la révolution, qui aiment le changement. Bonjour à tous ceux qui sont décidés à faire partie de la pauvreté, à donner un sens à l'humanité. Bonjour à tous ceux qui n'ont pas décidé de croiser les bras et de laisser faire les choses et qui ont décidé de chercher les voies et moyens pour pouvoir renverser la situation. Bonjour, moi c'est Leader Odo. Je viens là ce matin pour qu'on puisse partager une merveilleuse opportunité ensemble. J'aimerais qu'on parcourt ensemble les différentes opportunités que nous offre la plateforme Billion Coin, la plateforme TBC, qui est une merveilleuse plateforme, en ce sens que elle permet à tous ceux qui veulent un temps soit peu donner un sens à la vie, un sens à l'existence humaine, à pouvoir améliorer leurs conditions de vie. Alors, je vais commencer par attirer l'attention de tous les membres de la communauté ici, pour de faire très attention. Hein? Tous ceux qui essayent de vouloir dire qu'ils peuvent changer le TBC à l'heure actuelle, faites attention, c'est des bandits, c'est des scams. Alors évitez de croire à n'importe quoi, mais rapprochez-vous toujours de vos leaders afin que ceux-ci puissent vous permettre de mieux comprendre ce dont vous en avez besoin. D'accord? Alors je commence par là. Faites attention. Be aware of scammer posting as TBC exchanger. C'est partout, sur Facebook, ça est là, sur Internet, il y a des gens qui sont prêts à dire qu'ils peuvent vous échanger au TBC. Faites attention, ce sont des bandits. Alors, il y a également cette merveilleuse opportunité. En 24 heures rapides, 24 hours, vous faites référer 2 personnes. Le système vous donne 10 millions de cookies. Et si en l'espace de 48 heures, vos 2 fileurs font également le même travail, le système vous reward, vous passe aussi vous, ici en haut, à 100 millions de kringles, 100 millions de cookies. D'accord. Ça, c'est une merveilleuse opportunité, chers amis. Et pour mieux comprendre comment cette opportunité a été faite, comment est-ce qu'elle a été bâtie et pourquoi est-ce qu'elle se positionne ainsi, j'aimerais que nous puissions ensemble comprendre comment est-ce que ce monde fonctionne. Je disais tantôt dès le départ que ceux qui ont décidé, je disais bonjour à tous ceux qui ont décidé de changer la manière que les choses se font, de ne pas rester dans la logique des choses qui se sont faites hier, de pouvoir changer. Il y a un certain nombre de choses qui se passent autour de nous et qui, ma foi, nous amènent à frémir et à ne pas dormir en sachant que le monde est comme ça. Et c'est pourquoi cette opportunité qui est TBC a toujours été quelque chose d'assez poignant, d'assez fort, d'assez essentiel pour pouvoir nous permettre de résoudre ce problème lié à l'humanité. L'humanité a en proie à plusieurs choses qui ne lui permettent pas de s'épanouir. Alors, il est question ici que les uns et les autres comprennent réellement qu'est-ce que c'est TBC et quels sont ses objectifs. Pourquoi est-ce que TBC est venu? Alors, je vous invite à partager cette vidéo qui est dans notre Kringle Cash Back Office et qui parle exactement de la toute présentation, la grande et l'entière présentation des Billion. S'il vous plaît, soyez attentifs, s'il vous plaît. Et ensuite, vous pourrez comprendre la raison pour laquelle Billion est là. Merci bien.
The TBC coin was launched on March 21st, 2016, at the initial price of 1/10 of 1 cent in euros. The ultimate price is equal to the total number of verified TBC members multiplied by €1. The current price adjusts once every 24 hours at midnight Fiji time according to the TBC formula. The path that the TBC formula follows is based on the average growth of the TBC community. The current price must go up daily from 1% to 5% until it reaches the ultimate price. This formula can be seen on the TBC logo. Here is the initial price. Here is the ultimate price. The software driving this formula stops counting verified members once we reach 1 billion members. This means that the maximum value of each TBC coin is limited to 1 billion per coin. Once all of the TBC coins are mined, there will be a total of 1 billion coins. Now you can see where the name comes from. TBC is short for the billion coin. Again, looking at the formula on the TBC logo, you can see the path here at 1%, 2%, 3%, 4%, and 5%. Owning TBC coins while on this path creates wealth for all of the members holding on to TBC coins, and vast fortunes for all of the TBC stakeholders and miners. Selling TBC coins is fast and easy. There is always a long list of buyers lined up to purchase TBC coins from you at thebillioncoin.com. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain by purchasing TBC coins today. At 1%, the value of your money will double every 71 days. At 2%, it doubles every 36 days. At 3%, it doubles every 25 days. At 4%, it doubles every 19 days. And at 5%, it doubles every 15 days. Do you know what time it is in Fiji? Hurry and buy TBC coins today before the current price goes up again. Even if all you have is 1 penny to make your purchase, if 1 penny can buy you at least 1 TBC coin, then you could become a TBC billionaire once the current price ultimately reaches 1 billion. Just buy it and hold on to it to make all of your wildest dreams come true. So you better hurry and get back to the person that invited you to watch this video so that you can complete your purchase today.
2016 is set to be a more unequal world than ever before. For the first time, the richest 1% of the population will enjoy a greater share of global wealth than the other 99%.
It's the year 2016, and the elite have a plan. And it's not by accident that the 1% own more of the global wealth than the 99% combined today. Naturally, this is the root cause of poverty in our world. Poverty is so widespread and devastating today that it has deeply marked the human condition within every country on the face of the earth. You and I, and the remainder of the 99%, have been forced to share what is left over. And with just 1% of all the money in the world between us, how can we enjoy life with so little?
People are talking a lot about inequality these days, about the fact that the richest 1% have so much more than everybody else. But most of the focus seems to be on the United States. And it strikes me that the same story needs to be told about global inequality too. So I did some research, and this is what I found from reliable sources like the UN. It turns out that while the US is totally out of whack, things are actually way worse for the planet as a whole. Let's start with this graph. A perfectly even distribution of wealth among all living people, with everyone divided into 5 equal groups. Now, let's show how much each group actually has. Shocking, right? 80% of the world's people barely have any wealth. It's hard to even see them on the charts. Meanwhile, the richest 2%, they have more wealth than half of the rest of the world. Let's look at this chart another way. Let's take the whole world's population, all 7 billion of us, and reduce it to just a representative 100 individuals. Here they are, poorest people on the left, richest people on the right. Now let's show how the world's total wealth, roughly $223 trillion, is distributed. The vast majority have practically nothing. Nothing with which to educate their children, nothing with which to pay for basic medicines. While the richest 1%, they've accumulated 43% of our world's wealth. The bottom 80%, meanwhile, that's 8 out of every 10 people, have just 6% between them. But even this doesn't really show how extreme things have become. The richest 300 people on Earth have the same wealth as the poorest 3 billion. So the number of people it takes to fill a mid-sized commercial aircraft have more wealth than the populations of India, China, the US, and Brazil combined. We can also see this difference geographically, with a huge and growing gap between a few rich places versus the majority of the world. For most of history, things were much more equal. 200 years ago, rich countries were only 3 times richer than poor countries. By the end of colonialism in the 1960s, they were 35 times richer. Today, they're about 80 times richer. Rich countries try to compensate for this by giving aid to poor countries, about $130 billion each year. That's a lot of money. So then why does the wealth gap keep getting bigger? One reason I found is that large corporations are taking more than $900 billion out of poor countries each year through a form of tax avoidance called trade mispricing. On top of this, each year poor countries are paying about $600 billion in debt service to rich countries on loans that have already been paid off many times over. And then there's the money that poor countries lose from trade rules imposed by rich countries to get access to more resources and cheaper labor. Economists from the University of Massachusetts calculate that this costs poor countries about $500 billion a year. Altogether, that's more than $2 trillion that flows from some of the poorest parts of the world to the richest every year. Rich governments like to say they're helping poor countries develop, but who's developing who here? This makes me think that there's something wrong with the basic rules of the global economy. It can't be okay that the wealth of our planet is becoming so concentrated in the hands of such a tiny number of people. The only reasonable response, it seems to me, and our only hope, is to change the rules.
Obviously, that video, published in 2012, is out of date. It was very bad then, but it is even worse today. As I've already shown you, the 1% now own 99% of all the wealth in 2016. Will we, the massive majority, the 99% of the world population, continue to allow the elite to unfold their plans for us? This achievement of gathering 99% of all the wealth of the world for themselves on the surface sounds impossible. How did the elite pull this off? They engineered the entire world system to revolve around artificial scarcity. They have lined the pockets of almost every world leader and politician and have effectively turned them all into their puppets. Do you think you are getting the real news when you turn on the TV or open a newspaper? Their traitorous acts should be the headline news. The elite are all criminals operating above the law, and hardly a word about them is mentioned in the mainstream media. Don't you know that the elite own the banks? All of them? They use mind control and call it education. Free markets, don't make me laugh. All of the markets are manipulated by them. Their objective is to have absolute control over every man, woman, and child on Earth. Open your eyes to this beast system we live in today. It's not just corrupt, it's evil. Creating the belief that scarcity exists is their magic key to the entire system they have created. Wake up. Scarcity only really exists in the minds of those that believe in it. If you believe in something, you will act accordingly. This is the truth. If you wake up, you can break free. There's not enough food in the world, not enough water, not enough oil and metals for everyone to have a cell phone, a computer, or a car. These are all lies, and you don't have to be a scientist to expose this deception. Just open your eyes and look around. The earth is empty, empty of us, humans. Look at the land. It is full of every resource you can imagine. Perhaps you live in a city, and from that perspective, it may seem like there are too many of us. Get out of the city. You don't have to go far to discover how empty the world is of us. Raw land, as far as the eye can see, empty of humankind. Take a plane and look down upon the earth. Once you leave the cities, you will see that the earth is untouched and completely full of abundance. The secrets of free energy have been hidden from our view. We could absolutely extract every resource we could ever want from our Mother Earth without destroying this beautiful world. When mankind wakes up to abundance and rejects the deception of artificial scarcity, we will be able to work in complete harmony with nature and gently share in the abundance of it all. When we all believe in the truth that the world is full of abundance, we will behave accordingly. Without the unnatural need for haste embedded into the belief of scarcity, we can simply cooperate with one another and expand into the land without polluting it. Abundance brings peace on earth, and all wars are only truly fought on the belief of scarcity. Wake up! Happiness and joy can be found within the truth. You are facing a personal choice right now. Be very careful in making up your mind. Your whole life, you've been bombarded with a deception that makes you believe in scarcity. Even if you are not completely conscious that you've been behaving like a person that believes in scarcity, you may not even be able to see how artificial this scarcity idea is in this world today. But when you examine the totality of the world with your own eyes, you can see nothing but abundance. The major force driving scarcity is fear. The force behind abundance is love. Before you make this choice, ask yourself one question. Do you want to live in abundance? The alternative is scarcity. Of course you want a life of abundance, and so does everyone else. That in itself is proof of abundance. Abundance and the desire to have it is universal. Today you can change your mind and join others who have done so before you and leave scarcity behind and get into the flow of abundance. Once you consciously choose to believe in abundance, not just for yourself, but for all, then you will see abundance recrystallize the reality around you to receive all that you truly desire. It's only a matter of time. Open your eyes and choose now. TBC is the first abundance-based currency in our world. TBC will end poverty globally. But how? How will TBC end poverty throughout the world? There will be 1 billion TBC coins mined. At some point, each TBC coin will be worth 1 billion euros. A billion euros multiplied by a billion TBC coins equals a number with 18 zeros behind it. There are 7.4 billion people living on Earth today. When we take the number with the 18 zeros and divide it by the world population of 7.4 billion of us, this means that each person on Earth could enjoy an equal share in the wealth of TBC, and each would get 135 million euros. Is that enough abundance for you? Could you make all of your dreams come true if you had that much money? For most of us, that would be more than enough. But this is not going to happen. We are not all going to end up with an equal share of TBC. Naturally, the early adopters will end up with much more of the TBC coins because they were the first to receive the offer. But the early adopters had to be very patient. Their path is always bumpy, and they had to have more faith in TBC than those that come afterwards. Merchants and miners of TBC are likely to end up with the lion's share as time passes because they offer much more than the regular users of TBC coins. It won't take them long to convince their employees that paychecks in TBC are far more valuable than payment in any other currency. By design, the ultimate value of TBC of 1 billion euros per TBC coin cannot be reached until there are 1 billion verified members. The wealth is created for the members during the short time that TBC appreciates in price. The sooner you buy TBC, the more wealth it will create for you. Once the price of TBC reaches its final destination, it will have a full-blown economy of 1 billion users, spreading the consumption of TBC like any other major currency. The coins will flow back and forth as a perpetual stable currency that holds its value, and the price will never go down with TBC as it has with every other currency. Why? Because 1 billion people agreed that it would be that way. A stable currency is the best currency. Right now, you can get in while the price is low. We are a long way in value from 1 billion euros per TBC coin, even though the time is short to get there. We fully expect to arrive at the final price of 1 billion euros per TBC coin by October 9th, 2017. The TBC train is moving fast now. Get on board now and buy as many TBC coins as you can. The price will never be this low again. The more you buy today, the more wealth this will create for you by the end of 2017. TBC is on a mission to end poverty globally, and studies have shown a direct link that unemployment leads to poverty. Artificial scarcity has a final destination too, and we are witnessing it right now. TBC will create more jobs than people to fill them. Wages will go up. Unemployment can disappear altogether. That's what will happen when we end poverty. If you are not wealthy enough to just live off your TBC, you will be able to work for someone who does. They will create so many jobs that everyone that wants a job will have one. It's a beautiful thing.
You'll find them today in every Philippine city and town. Near highways, shopping centers, tourist attractions, scavenging or hustling for money and food. The exact number, no one knows for certain, but estimates run as high as 1.5 million children who spend much of their day and often nights living or working on the streets. They are driven here by crushing poverty and a dreary mix of other pressures. Some are with parents who barely get by on meager street jobs. Some are runaways, others abandoned or driven here by domestic violence and abuse. Before age 8, they're skilled at begging. Watch this girl's determination as she pleads for handouts from a passerby. Before 18, it'll be gang life, drugs, criminal activity, prostitution. Many will fall prey to physical and sexual abuse by adults. And yet, they're the ones harassed by police, often rounded up as public nuisances and thrown into adult jail cells. Officially, this is banned by the government, but the Philippines Human Rights Organization, PREDA, regularly produces evidence that the practice continues. Most will end up right back on the streets anyway. A return to family homes for those who have them is usually not an option. It's easy to see why.
This is a place Filipinos call Riles, the rails. It is one long, continuous, desperately poor slum that runs along the railroad tracks that go right through the center of the Philippine capital.
Thousands of families live as squatters here, many for generations, literally right on top of one another.
The conditions are just deplorable. The lack of sanitation, there's very little fresh water, it's overcrowded, it smells bad, and running right through the center of this place is an open sewer.
It's an atmosphere that breeds disease, domestic violence, hopelessness. And it's why so many children say they prefer living on the streets. It's 4 a.m. in Manila as Jodine Sola makes his morning rounds. A burly lay missionary with kind words,
So kids, kamusta na?
a gentle touch, and deep empathy for the children of the streets.
The kids are suffering too much in lung disease, lungs problem. So because they sleep on the concrete and the kids are so unhealthy. Living in this kind of environment, a lot of kids are dying very young.
Jodine Sola was once a street kid himself. He knows what it's like to be a child without a childhood. He has felt their pain. You can see how he's trusted even by the most hardened teenagers. And trust, Joe believes, is his most powerful tool. It helps him encourage children to drop by his small mission shelter. For a free meal, companionship, maybe a little advice about dangers on the street. A place to learn a few life skills. Some responsibilities, something like, well, a normal life.
What the real need of these children is needed, somebody that can assure them that they are cared, somebody that can play with them and can embrace them in their wounded situations.
Though space is limited, they can stay as long as they want. But Joe knows not to push too hard. Since many kids, like Noel 12 and Benjamin 13, say they're still more comfortable back on the streets.
On the streets you like better. Why? Okay.
Because they tell us it's where their friends are, where they make a little money, where they feel safe. Safe because the street is the only life most of these kids have known.
This is their home. This is where they're free. This is where they're safe. They feel safer here than they do at home, so to speak.
Natalie McCauley heads the Child Protection Division of UNICEF in the Philippines. She says aid agencies have had to accept that the problem of street children will not be solved anytime soon. So UNICEF is also supporting smaller efforts now that give kids survival skills to add to their street smarts. It's information that could save them someday from violence or abuse. It's about having someone to trust. Someone like Jodine Sola over on the other side of town. His small mission now cares full-time for about 50 street children, but more keep showing up to check things out. On some weekends, it's like one big block party. It gives Joe hope, even if it is a reminder of how much more needs to be done.
I believe that, I can do something, I can contribute something to save these children. One child at a time. One child at a time. One child at a time.
One who survived the childhood on the streets, now offering love, encouragement, and support to another generation of street children. For World Focus, this is Mark Litzke in Manila, the Philippines.
Poverty is a terrible curse upon the children that don't deserve it. These innocent children deserve a world filled with abundance, and it is up to us to give it to them. Here is what you can do to help. Buy as much TBC as you can today. The price will only go up. Hold your TBC coins. Don't sell any of them. Let time work for you. Wait at least 6 months before you sell any of your TBC coins. When the value of your TBC coins is high enough, hire people to work for you and pay them in TBC. That is collectively how we will end poverty. Perhaps you will need help in selling your TBC coins, and that need will create new jobs for others to do. Don't you realize that this is the billion coin, and it will create many billionaires? Perhaps you will be one of them. You could be a historic figure in the mission to end poverty globally. The final choice is yours. You can continue to live under the slave masters of fear and doubt and waste away your life believing in a scarcity that doesn't really exist. Or you can join the billion coin community and receive your share of the abundant life it is already delivering to its current members. Choose wisely, my friends. The wealth creation phase of TBC will end most likely at the end of 2017. We offer you all the proof you could ever want that this is actually working right now. All you have to do is open your eyes to see it. Best wishes to you, no matter what you choose today. We simply want everyone to be happy. Thank you for listening.
Ok, chers amis, je crois que après cette vidéo, vous avez pu comprendre pourquoi est-ce que TBC est né, pourquoi est-ce que TBC est là, pourquoi est-ce que la crypto-monnaie Billion Coin est la solution pour la pauvreté, et en quoi est-ce que l'opportunité Billion Coin est la solution essentielle pour permettre à l'humanité de pouvoir sortir de l'état de pauvreté, de pouvoir se donner une importance capitale, de se donner une image réelle et pouvoir se positionner par rapport à l'avenir, en sachant que l'avenir est fait d'un certain nombre d'incertitudes, parce que l'élite a décidé de faire des êtres humains je ne sais pas trop, des instruments qui puissent leur permettre d'avoir de l'argent. Or, il est donc question que les uns et les autres se positionnent et saisissent cette opportunité jamais donnée dans le monde entier, qu'est TBC, qu'est Billion Coin, pour permettre en fait en sorte que chacun puisse pouvoir retirer la plus-value et pouvoir gagner essentiellement ce dont Dieu a bien voulu mettre à notre disposition pour pouvoir nous épanouir. Alors, je crois que sans plus tarder, les uns et les autres doivent désormais comprendre que Billion Coin est là, TBC est là, pour résoudre essentiellement leur situation. Alors, nous vous invitons davantage à saisir ce type d'opportunité, à ne plus rester en retrait, mais à comprendre que le monde est en train de bouger et nous devons bouger avec. Alors, chers amis, merci d'avoir écouté et à la prochaine.